We're ready to break down each division, starting with the NFC East. I'm gonna start with you, Rob. Who are the highs and who are the lows of this division? What do you think is gonna go down?
Well, here's the thing. The NFC East, they have a very long tradition of not having a repeating champion or repeating winner of the NFC East. That right there pretty much makes me think that the Washington football team is probably not going to win. I know it's kind of superstitious, not necessarily based on a lot of fact, but I personally think, and I'm going to go out on a limb. I know it's a crazy limb, and of course my football team is in this division too, but I'm not going to pick the New York Giants. I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles. I know it's crazy. This pretty much comes from my opinions about their quarterback. I just personally believe that he's probably gonna take another step. I personally believe that Jalen Hurts probably rookie year. I think he was definitely decent. He didn't necessarily wow anybody, but I personally think as a first year quarterback coming into a system that you did basically the whole system was against you. It's pretty much designed for Carson Wentz. I think that he definitely did a very good job, and I think just off of the impact of what he did. Of course, they didn't necessarily win a lot of games. I believe he was 1-3 when he did actually come in. Just the overall performance of the team there was a lot better. And of course, now they get some weapons. Now they get an actual structure. Now he gets to go through a training camp. I personally believe that the Philadelphia Eagles could potentially go a solid, a solid 10-7 behind Jalen Hurts. I personally believe that he's probably going to carry them. Now, of course, I don't necessarily expect him to throw for 5,000 yards, anything too crazy like that. I just personally think that Jalen Hurts is probably going to be one of them type of guys that doesn't turn the ball over, that doesn't do anything too crazy, but also makes a lot of plays with his legs. Now, the second, in my opinion, is probably going to be the Washington football team. I got them at the same record as the Philadelphia Eagles. The thing, though, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have the tiebreaker. I just personally believe that the Philadelphia Eagles is probably going to beat the Washington football team. Here's the thing about the Washington football team. They have a very good roster, but their quarterback is extremely shaky. I have absolutely no idea why they're going in with their starting quarterback being Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, here's the thing. He's gonna be good for some games. He's gonna be amazing for some games. But there's gonna be some games that you just can't. He's gonna turn the ball over a couple of times. He's gonna fumble the ball a couple of times. He's gonna throw some football that you just wondering like, what are you doing? But I think the defense is probably gonna be up. The defense is probably gonna be help them win a lot of football games. It's really going only gonna be determined of if Ryan Fitzpatrick can actually protect the football. Now, the other two teams, the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, I don't necessarily think either of them are going to be bad. I personally have the New York Giants at 7-10, and I have the Dallas Cowboys at 8-9. I think this right here. The division is going to be extremely competitive. I don't necessarily think it's going to be as bad as it was last year, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be anything too crazy. I don't necessarily see any like standout football teams. I just think it's going to be a decent division, just like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you mean by a decent division. I definitely think it'll be a dogfight as it is every year. But surprisingly, I've been saying all year that I had, the Cowboys winning that division because on paper, they have the best all around roster, the best talent, and I still to this day believe that they have the best quarterback in the division. However, after going through their schedule and comparing it to Philly, New York, and Washington, I actually have New York winning that division by a hair at 9-8. Um, I mean, to begin with, I just go off with the division leaders that I think. So New York, they're gonna get back Saquon Barkley. They re-signed Leonard Williams, who's I think a really underrated defensive end. I think he really does a good job again to the quarterback and leading that New York defense. Daniel Jones. People clown Daniel Jones, but when you in the blink of an eye, he gets the job done. I mean, he's a quality QB. Not to mention you guys signed I think Galladay, the wide receiver. And just going off the schedule again, that's really the biggest thing with the NFC East. It's really about who has the easiest schedule and then how the matchups within the division itself go. So after New York, I have Dallas strictly because of the guys that they have on roster. You got Ezekiel Elliott coming back. You got Dak Prescott. We talk about that the entire offense that they have. The defense is shaky. We'll see what the defense looks like, but all in all, I believe that they'll get it together. And then I actually have Philly and Washington both tied at 5-12. Now Washington, like you said, Ryan Fitzpatrick, that's going to be an interesting thing to see because Ryan Fitzpatrick, he'll catch some fire. They call him Magic. You know what I'm saying? Fitz Magic. We seen what he was doing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but this is not that kind of team. They're going to be a defense first team, and however good that defense is, that's going to dictate how far they go this season. And Philly, I'm just unsure about Philly, man. You know, I think that there's a culture issue in Philly. I don't think that Jalen Hurts is the answer. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to lead you to 10 wins. That's for sure. The defense is suspect. We just have to see. But again, I think New York is going to win that division by a hair, and that's only because Dallas will be Dallas, and yeah.
Uh, we all agree on one thing, that is going to be a competitive division. The NFC East is never really known to be like a team winning like in a landslide. It usually always goes down to like the final 2 or 3 weeks. But Rob, I'm gonna have to disagree with you with the Philadelphia Eagles winning 10 games. That seems like a little much. No, that seems like a lot of games for them to win, and I mean a lot. I have the Philadelphia Eagles going 4-13. And it hurts for me to say, but I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I think he needs more time under his belt for him to really go out there and have a winning season as a quarterback. I hope he does get better, but I don't see them winning a lot of games. And then where it really gets interesting, I have a two-way tie for second place with the Giants and the Washington football team. I have both of them going 9-8 because there are a lot of toss-up games in that, like on their schedule. And Washington, their defense is going to win a lot of games. Like, their defense has been getting to the quarterback. It's a frustrating team to go against, and a lot of teams, I don't feel like they're going to be able to really make adjustments to deal with their front four and how they just get to the quarterback. And now with the Giants, they're going to win games. I know they're going to win games. How? I don't know. They seem to find a way to win some games. I feel like they're a decent football team. They're a middle-of-the-pack team. They've made progress, maybe not as fast as Giants fans would have liked them to make that progress. But I feel like this is a key year in the, let's say, new Giants, where if Daniel Jones doesn't have a breakout season where we can say, okay, he can be a starting quarterback for a whole season, I feel like his job might be on the line. If he has another subpar to below average season as a quarterback, then the Giants might be on the market for a new quarterback. Now, the division winner, I have the Dallas Cowboys winning the division at 10-7, and that's strictly based on their offense. I know we hate on the Cowboys because their fans make it very easy to hate on them, but with Dak Prescott at quarterback, that offense puts up points. Their defense, on the other hand, needs help, but I feel like they can win 10 games straight off their offense, and that's my standings.
All right, so here's the thing. I'll get into the Cowboys a little bit later, but for the Giants, the thing about the Giants is that it pains me to say this, but you just don't know which Giants you're going to see. Well, let's get into the quarterback first, because everything's going to be predicated about the quarterback. The team got the quarterback so much weapons this offseason. Got so much weapons. You got the wide receiver Tony in the first round. Got Kenny Galladay. You got Saquon Barkley. You got Sterling Shepard. You got Evan Ingram. You got a whole bunch of weapons, right? Mm-hmm. But how is the quarterback going to look? Just for example, his rookie year, he had 24 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. He almost broke the record for touchdowns in a rookie season. And remind you, he missed about 5 games his rookie year. His second year, he had 11 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Now, we understand the running problem with Daniel Jones is going to be the fumbling problem. But just looking at throwing-wise, it was a huge drop-off from rookie year to sophomore year. Now, third year, he might take that leap again. He might go back up to 24 TDs and 12 interceptions. He might even surpass that. I just don't know. And another thing is going to be, the offensive coordinator, Jason Garrett. Now we understand his problems as a head coach, but he also has problems as an offensive coordinator as well. I detailed how Daniel Jones fell off, basically under the stewardship of Jason Garrett. I'm not necessarily sure if he's going to be able to maximize that offense. Now, another thing with the Cowboys, I just don't necessarily trust them regardless. I mean, on paper, 100%, they should have been the division winners for the last 3 or 4 years, on paper. But it doesn't necessarily always translate. And even, of course, you understand that Dak Prescott got injured last year. But even when he was healthy the first couple of games, their team was just bad, all around bad. I mean, the defense alone was absolutely horrendous. And on paper, their defense was basically studded with a bunch of veterans, former Pro Bowlers. It looked amazing. So I just want to wait and see how they actually play before I actually do give any merit to the Dallas Cowboys. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, you can say that about most teams though. It depends on which kind of quarterback you're gonna get for the season. But
Whoa. With that, with
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, well, yeah. With that aspect of it, it depends on how the quarterback wants to play. But nah, like Adrian said, man, I think the Giants are gonna figure out a way to win certain games, and you can't deny the talent that you do have. With you named off all of the weapons, and you didn't even mention Saquon Barkley as that dual threat, do it all running back. So
Mhm.
yeah, man, like I said, I mean, it could really go either way or any way in the NFC East. I just think it's the Giants' turn this year to win that division.
This is pretty interesting. We actually all have a different winner for the NFC East, and it makes sense. And none of us have the run it back winner. Like Rob said, this division isn't really famous for having a team dominated for so long, and we'll see what happens. Let us know in the comments down below, who do you think will win this division and why.